Thorny, as we venture into the R&R, two truths are consistent. We love our dear Montana State, and we love great beer. And you know who else feels the same? Jeremiah Johnson Brewing. Brewed in the heart of Montana in downtown Great Falls, Jeremiah Johnson takes Montana's finest ingredients to craft some of Montana's favorite beers. And now, Jeremiah Johnson's second tap room is open in downtown Coeur d'Alene. Their Citra IPA is probably one of my favorites. But we all know, Thorny, you're not the hop lover I am. You're more of a Mountain Man Scotch Ale.
Well, Foley, I'm certainly not a mountain man, but you are right. I do love their Mountain Man Scotch Ale. But come game day, you and I are both cracking their Golden Bobcat Pale Ale. So when you're looking for a quality craft beer brewed with Montana roots, a relaxing tap room, or just a six-pack to take to your favorite Bobcat tailgate, Jeremiah Johnson delivers. Make your next beer a Jeremiah Johnson, and as always, go Cats.
Welcome, everybody, to the R&R Catcast, a fan-based podcast focusing on Montana State athletics. We're two dudes named Ryan from the state of Washington talking about our dear Montana State. We hope you enjoy it. All right. Welcome back, Bobcat fans, and thanks for joining us on another episode of the R&R Catcast. I'm your main host, Ryan Foley. I can't say I'm the main host. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Foley. Across the state from me is my good buddy, Ryan Thornburg. He puts in more work than I do. That's not a joke. And we are the Ryans of the R&R Catcast, the Montana State affiliate of the Big Sky Podcast Network. And we have a dang sponsor, brewing dank beers in downtown Great Falls with a second tap room in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. That's Jeremiah Johnson Brewing. Thorny, it's our last podcast before the national championship. Let's go, Cats! Woo!
Let's go, Cats. This is awesome. We've been waiting kind of to do this episode. We actually talk a little bit of football about the game. We've been kind of doing some other stuff. I'm excited. I know you're excited. I'm glad you plowed through that intro. I wasn't sure if you're going to bail out at the last second because you were giggling, but glad you did it. Glad we're started. Let's go, man. Let's go.
Oh, man, I totally blame you. You got me in the giggly mood.
That's good. It makes for good content.
Your antics beforehand just got me off my game, and now I'm in a giggly mood. Some might say the vim is pulsing through me, though, a little bit, too. We're talking about the national championship tonight. We're going to break down the keys to Montana State when they're on offense and the keys to Montana State when they're on defense. We'll talk about the keys in general, some other keys that we might not even mention that will fit in some other places, as Thorny said earlier. And we're going to tackle some golden coolie questions.
Keys in other places. It's kind of funny.
We're going to be unlocking secret places in this episode.
You can just call us the janitor because we have all the keys. All right. That's boo. Boo me. Let's press on.
Pressing on. All right. We're in a puncher's mood tonight. All right. Let's talk about what's in our golden coolie.
So I only have two choices, basically. I had the Stirred Up, which is what I drank when we had Coulter Nuanez on. If you haven't listened to that episode, check it out. Coulter Nuanez of Skyline Sports. It was a lot of fun. I have, but my first beer, I'm going to have two beers here. My beer I'm going to talk about is Blue Moon Classic Belgian White. Man, it's a good, solid beer. I don't care what time of year it is. It's a good wheat beer. It's one of my favorites. Always a good classic, always drinkable. Here it is. Bottoms up.
Bottoms up. I'm in the same boat, man. I don't have anything new. I have a Bubble Stash IPA from Hop Valley out of Eugene, and Coulter told me that. He's the one who's like, yeah, he knew from it. Eugene. Like, and I'm like, Eugene. Yeah. I think he's right. I still can't find it anywhere. Yep, Eugene, there it is. So that one's good. And sitting next to me, I also have a Cold Rainier. I don't know, in the last two episodes, I've debuted both of these, so here they are. I'm just going off of what's in the fridge tonight, so nothing special, but a special podcast because, hey, it's National Championship Week. And now our the penultimate episode. We will cover the National Championship when it's over next week, but the penultimate episode leading up into the National Championship game, we're going to talk about keys to offense, keys to defense, and what Montana State needs to do in order to bring home the national championship.
Yep, I'm excited. We may do some sort of live stream type thing from Frisco on game day in the morning. I don't think it'll be anything substantial or of any substance, that is. So this will be your last chance to listen to us actually talk some football, some real football before we go to the national championship, which is, I think, is finally kicking in. That I'm getting on a plane here on Friday. How amazing is that? Assuming that, no, knock on wood, that nothing goes south cancellation wise. But man, we're headed to Texas. A potential once in a lifetime opportunity as a Bobcat fan. I am just over the moon right now, and I can't wait to talk about some game matchups here.
Our friend Pete texted me earlier today. He's going to be down in Frisco, and he's like, I feel like a kid, like 3 days before Christmas. And I was like, perfectly stated.
It's funny how sports can do that. I mean, you could be any age, and it just makes you feel young when your team is winning and you just have that passion. Man, it just makes you feel good. It makes you feel like a kid again. That's a really good way of putting it.
All right, man. Hey, well, let's get right into it. Thorny, let's talk about the offense first. What do we need to do to win? What kind of keys are you looking for Montana State when the Bobcats have the football?
So I've been thinking about this. North Dakota State's defense is very good this year. I mean, if you want to go down and look at all their statistics, almost everything is like top 5, top 10. I think like the worst statistic.
They're the number one scoring defense.
Number one scoring defense.
We're number 2.
Yeah, we are number 2. So we are right there. I mean, this is just the old adage of defense wins championships. Both teams, the 2 best scoring defenses in the country, are here in Frisco. So, but 11th best passing defense. So I guess that's their weakness. I mean, if you really want to pick it out, because their rushing defense is only 82.7 yards per game, which is good for 3rd in the country, which is absolutely crazy stat. Holding teams under 85 yards a game. So if you want to look at what the Cats are going to do on offense, I think things are going to have to go through the passing game. I think we're going to have some success throwing the ball if we want to have some success running the ball. I think it's going to have to go that direction in this game. I don't think we're going to be able to just go up there and do RPO stuff with Tommy, and hopefully Isaiah Fonze is good to go, because we're going to need him for sure. We're going to need the full cast of characters in this one. But I think it starts with Tommy Mellott being able to move the ball a little bit through the air. What do you think about that?
No, you took exactly what I have written down in my steno pad over here. I think that's exactly right. They're going to key on Tommy Mellott. They're going to key on Fonse, just like Coulter told us in our previous episode. And I think he's exactly right. If we are expecting to establish the run, to put the pass like the traditional way that a lot of teams do it, I don't think we're going to have a lot of success. And I think the outcome will be much like we had in 2018, 2019.
Yep, I agree with that. I think we are much more dynamic than we have been. I think Tommy Mellott brings a whole new element to the game. And what do you think about this? What do you think about the fact that the Cats have now had, I mean, obviously North Dakota State did too, but the 3 weeks between the game, which number one can derail your momentum, but number two, more importantly for us, I think, maybe not more importantly, but importantly for us, it gives Tommy Mellott more reps in practice. It gives more reps being a quarterback. Like, this is only his 3rd start. So he's basically getting almost like a tiny little condensed, I think the Bison call it winter camp. This is like Tommy Mellott's winter camp now. He gets the time between the game and the national championship game now to figure some things out, to hone his skills in, and to get more what's the word I'm looking for? Like,
Preparation?
no, but between receivers.
Chemistry.
That's the word, chemistry. Chemistry, yeah, get more chemistry between all the wide receivers. It gives the Taylor House more time to maybe implement some new plays. And you know that the Bobcats, at least I hope so, are going to have some wrinkles in this game, maybe some trick plays. Like, this is the Bobcats are once again the underdogs. They've been the entire time. I think that there's a good chance we're going to see some stuff we haven't seen from Tommy Mellott in the offense. And I think that's one of the biggest advantages for the Bobcats, is there's still the element of surprise with Tommy Mellott and what he can do. And I think that's honestly the biggest thing the Cats have going for him on offense anyway.
Is that still a question, or did you answer your own question?
Yes.
I think this might not be a popular opinion, but I think it's advantage North Dakota State having this 3 weeks to prepare for Tommy Mellott, having the tape out on him now, and also the stark fact that the momentum that we carried through the playoffs, I still hope it's there, but it might not. I mean, right? We have 3 weeks to kind of simmer down. Maybe that's a wrong way of saying it, but I think advantage North Dakota State for at least the time. Right. And I also think too, we're going to see more out of Tommy Mellott. We will have to. These sideline passes are great, and I think that is something we can use to attack North Dakota State. But I've been thinking about this a lot, and we're gonna need, like, if we're gonna be in like 3rd and 6, what do we do when it's 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7? We've seen flashes of it. I think that's where we're gonna see the evolution of Tommy Mellott. If Taylor Housewright, the offensive plan, Tommy Mellott have a handful of plays that we can go to on those downs and yardage scenarios, I feel a lot more hopeful in this game.
See, what Tommy Mellott does so good, I think that's going to be a key in this game, is those 3rd and 6s. Yeah, you want it to be a traditional pass, and see what Tommy Mellott can do, but I think that's where Tommy Mellott can really be dangerous with his legs. I was watching a little bit.
They're going to be spying him, man.
They are going to be spying him, but it's one thing to spy him, and it's in practice, and it's one thing to tackle him in a live game situation.
But I mean, they're North Dakota State, though. Like, I got to give them a little bit of credit. They have the dudes to do it. I mean,
so you don't think Tommy Mellott can pick up a 3rd and 6 with his legs? Period. In this game, you don't think it's going to happen once?
Oh, I think he can, yes, but to the extent he was doing it all through the playoffs, I'm not sure.
I didn't say that. I didn't say he would. I'm just saying there's going to be situations where he has an opportunity to pick up like 7 yards. He's not going to bust out, most likely, a 50 or 60 yard touchdown run against North Dakota State. But I was watching Okay, I'm trying to make this point 2 times. Let me make my point, and then you can go. I was watching a little bit of the James Madison game today, and I know it's a whole different team and a whole different defensive scheme, but there were several times where James Madison, quarterback, just sat in the pocket, and the North Dakota State defensive line is collapsing around him, but there's like a big hole that opened up. And, their quarterback that wasn't what he does. And Tommy Mellott's going to be so much more quicker to run, and he's going to be so much more explosive and exploit any holes that do pop up, I think. I think it's what he does well, even from like a pocket spot. So I think that's going to be something that's going to be key is, 3rd and 6, he's going to have to make some throws, but I also think he's going to have to make some runs to pick those up. He's not going to be able to do only one or the other. He's going to have to do both.
Okay. So I that's where I was going with it. I totally agree. He has to do both. He can't just rely on his legs to get him out of this. And maybe it does in this game, and maybe it works, but if we look long-term, that's not a sustainable offense. We need to be able to pass the ball in a mid-range yardage rather than just going, like you said, you hate the term 50-50 balls. These are not 50-50 balls. These are like legit throw balls.
The term frustrates.
Back shoulder fades that he's elite on. But we need 10-yard slants. We need sticks from the tight end. We need all those mid yardage plays, and we've seen a little bit of it. I just want to see more.
So let me ask you this then. So one of the biggest keys for this game to me is holding onto the ball, not turning the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, for sure,
we can't force too much. So if Tommy's trying to force passes that aren't there, that's where I get nervous. I'd rather him take a sack, and I don't want him to come out there wanting to complete those passes because he thinks that's what they have to do to win and turn the ball over. Because he has not turned the ball. He's turned the ball over one time. And that's one thing that I'm going to talk about is he needs to hold on to the ball better and learn how to take tackles a little bit better. Because, man, he likes to just kamikaze and get just his boat rocked a little bit. He's going to have to tone that down a little bit against North Dakota State, well, against anybody. But, he's going to have to hold on to the ball. And I think not forcing passes is going to be a big key of that. He's going to have to be aggressive, but, man, he's going to have to be tempered aggressive.
No, I don't think there's any chance he's going to be, though. It's the national championship. You're the quarterback of the Montana State Bobcats, and you're going out to the national championship. You're not holding back anything. It's against the grain in his body to say, I need to play it smart right here and slide in a better way. He's going to go get every yard he can. He's going to fight tooth and nail for everything.
True. And
we're just going to have to live with that.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't result in a fumble, and I just hope he doesn't try and force a throw because that's part of the game plan. I don't know. This is kind of, on one hand, I want to say the Cats have a whole bunch of stuff up their sleeve and they're going to come out and do whatever. But on the other hand, like, that's not really what Brent Vigen's MO is. He likes to play mistake-free football, and coming out doing trick plays or anything that's we haven't practiced or you're not confident in running or whatever. Like, it's not something that I don't think we'll see a whole lot of necessarily, unless it comes down to it. Do you think we'll see Troy Anderson on offense? Speaking of new stuff?
Gosh, I don't know. I remember Coulter saying that, and I'm not saying he's wrong, but I just don't know.
I think we should. I don't know if we will.
So here's a good time to put in one of my keys to offense is be unpredictable. I think in this game, we need to be unpredictable, pull out all stops, and then hopefully some unlikely hero emerges for the Bobcats. Some guy that North Dakota State doesn't have a key on that can take over the game to make big yardage plays, splash plays as you would. Maybe that's Troy Anderson, but I mean, if you see Troy Anderson on offense, I don't know if that's the biggest thing I wonder is, like, if Troy Anderson's on offense, your eyes are like, hey, there's number 15. That's Troy freaking Anderson right there. He's probably going to get the ball. So I don't know. I think it's a nice thing to say he still is Troy Anderson, but man, I don't know how effective putting number 15 back there would be.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But I mean, he's also, in this scenario, though, he's also probably just as effective as a decoy. Like you said,
exactly.
Everyone's going to be keying on him. I mean, I would personally like to see something where it's a RPO to Troy Anderson or something, or a play action, then Troy Anderson like squeaks through the line of scrimmage and then catches a pass 5 yards down the field or something. Like, I don't know if that's even ever something that we'll ever see ever. I don't know if Troy Anderson can really catch the ball that well. He made some really nice interception in Cat Grizz, but he's also doinked some bullets right off of his hands before plenty of times throughout his career. But I don't know if we're going to use him in like a more creative way and not Troy Anderson's in there, so he's just going to get the ball. Let's use it in a bit more creative way, and don't just get him crushed. And he's got to go back on defense. We need him on defense. That is priority number one. But I also don't want to see any sort of like desperation mode, like we did at Cat Grizz. I did not like that in Cat Grizz, and it just fired up the Grizz more when they stuffed it. So
that's a good point.
Let's not do it.
I like your idea of like fake handoff to Troy and then deep ball down the middle or down the sideline. Or, Thorny, I know I'm going to ring your bell on this one. Wheel route to Troy.
Wheel route to Troy, or Troy wheel route back to Tommy Malott.
Oh, yes.
I wonder if Troy can still throw a football. He's probably so yoked up now. He'd probably just like bullet the ball. But anyway, that's a fun. I don't think we'll see probably hardly any of this stuff we're talking about. This is complete fan couch quarterback play calling here. So
I do have another key on offense. When we get into the red zone, we need to have red zone touchdowns instead of red zone field goals.
That's going to be hard. I think that's going to be really hard.
It will be.
Let me look that up. The red zone defense.
They're number 5.
Number 5. There you go. Number 5. And we're only 13th.
Number 5 in the nation.
My whole thing shifted. We're 10th. But
we're 10th, yes.
Number 5. I mean, that's good. Now, that doesn't tell you their touchdown percentage, but the fact that, they're 5th in scoring at all when you get the red zone is impressive.
Yeah.
So you're right. That's absolutely right. If we're able to move the ball between the 20s, we got to be able to finish off a drive. Because three or four field goals don't win this football game.
Tony, let me ask you just straight up: are we going to move the ball?
I don't know. I'm concerned about it. I think we'll be able to move it some. I think we'll have spots where we pick up big chunk plays. I just worried that we'll just go backwards and we'll get out of a rhythm. And like you said, 3rd and 6. I'm more worried about like a 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 10. It's like,
yeah,
what are we going to do there? And we have to get the running game going, whether that's however we go about that, whether that's just straight Tommy Millott, like whatever, we need ball carriers to get some yardage on the ground to take some pressure off. In a perfect world, we get the running game going enough that they go into some sort of cover zero, which we've seen, and they leave the one-on-ones DBs against Nate Stewart and Lance McCutcheon. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I mean we have to get the running game going at some point, which either means a healthy Isaiah Fonse, offensive line that's blocking really well, and probably some other running back to step up a little bit too. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll be able to move the ball.
I think the ace in the hole is Brent Vegan. Him knowing the systems of North Dakota State, having experienced that day in and day out, he's going to know how to attack this defense. That's the thing I love about going into this game. Brent Vegan is like the ace in our hole.
Oh, you're absolutely right on that. And I still think the 3 weeks of secrecy a little bit with Tommy Millott. We haven't seen the full extent of the Tommy Millott show or that Taylor Housewright Tommy Millott combination. So there is that. I'm not saying it's bigger than North Dakota State's advantage about getting 3 weeks to figure out Tommy Millott either, but it's there. It's a real thing. So we'll see which one proves out to be a bigger advantage.
All right. Let's move over to defense.
No.
Give me one key. No?
I wasn't ready.
You don't want to move to defense?
I wasn't ready.
All right. Let's talk more offense.
I wanted one last thing because I saw one note here and I wanted to hit on it. One thing I was watching a little bit, I was watching some NDSU film today. Their defensive line is so good at like just jumping, like timing the snap and just jumping right into the backfield. What can the Bobcats do to neutralize just North Dakota State's very good, very deep, very quick defensive line? Like what can the Cats do?
Were you watching the James Madison game?
I was watching the first quarter of it tonight.
Yeah. It was almost like they were borderline offsides.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, you wonder what that is. Did they do enough homework to know that the cadence or whatever for James Madison? Like they were just a couple guys were like timing it like every play.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And they would just blow up the play. Let's say like James Madison tried to have a pulling guard on a power run. They would blow it up and they couldn't even the guard couldn't even pull. And so they would just get a tackle for a loss. How do we stop that? I don't know. I'm not a football guy. What do you do? Fake clap and then try to get them to jump off sides and then I don't know.
Move the pocket. That's the only thing I can think of. Move the pocket. Get Tommy Millott on rollouts. I was on a complete tangent here. I was pretty unimpressed with James Madison's running backs.
I was unimpressed with James Madison, period.
I mean, that could be North Dakota State making them look unimpressive, but the running back had a couple times where he bounced out. He had a good vision, but he was not quick. He was just a big guy. And he kind of went down easy for how big he was. So I was watching that game. There's a couple times like, man, if Fonse gets that space, he turns that into like a 6 or 7 yard gain instead of like a 2 yard gain at the very least. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be a huge matchup, obviously. Probably the most important matchups is their defensive line versus offensive line. And can we handle a 4-man rush? And if we can't, we're kind of in trouble. Kind of in trouble.
That's a good point.
Because that keeps our linebackers free to tackle any ball carrier that we have.
I agree.
Okay, now I'm done.
Keys to defense.
Keep them out of the end zone. I mean, this one is kind of, it's not simple, but if I had to boil it down to one thing, it would be to make Cam Miller beat you with his arm.
Exactly. Stop the run. Keep Cam Miller in the pocket. Don't let him beat you with his legs. Make him beat us with his arm. That is it right there.
Which means stopping their program record setting rushing attack I have it down here. Darn it. But they broke a program record for yards per carry this year, even though they didn't have a single ball carrier with over 500 yards, which is just absurd. They averaged like 6.3 yards per carry or something this year. That's what they do. They run the ball. They throw the ball 15 yards
like
a game.
700 yards or something.
What's that?
I thought Tamarack Williams had 715 yards. Yeah, he does. Kobe Johnson has 565. Quincy Patterson has 562. Hunter Lipke has 461.
This must
Dominic
have been
Canella has
regular season
380.
stuff. I bet this is regular season stuff. It was like when they finished the regular season with this, because that's where I'm looking at. This is like straight from North Dakota State's like game notes. But yeah, so they finished like 6.13 yards per carry, because it said they did not have a single 500-yard rusher for the first time since 1975. Like, I didn't pull that 1975 thing out of my butt. I would have had to have read that from something. But the point is, like, they spread the load around, and there doesn't matter who it is. They kind of ride the hot hand. It's very much a running back by committee, and it's going to be incredibly hard to stop. And if you're able to stymie it at all, then yeah, Cam Miller's going to have to beat you with his arm. But that is so much easier said than done, and no one's been able to do it.
So let's say we stop 4 of those guys, and then one of them goes off on us, right? That's all it takes. That is the machine that North Dakota State is. That's the biggest thing that gets me like nervous about this game is they have a program that doesn't rely on star power, because nobody is a star on that team. Everybody just is the Bison. They're just so damn good at what they do, and they just put the guys in, and it's just a well-oiled machine. I think Montana State will trend that way over time with Coach Vegan, but when you look kind of at our team versus their team and the way we operate, we have much more star-laden, stats on our team. We've got the Fontes. We got, on defense, you think of like Amandre Williams and Daniel Hardy and all the guys who get sacks and everything. Troy Anderson, right? There's can't believe I forgot him. But they're like,
you start with
when you're just like, exactly. But when you look at their stuff, they just spread the wealth over 6 dudes in the backfield, and they're all going to get, mediocre yards, but they're all just like 6 of them instead of just like a Fonte. So it's very concerning when I look at that, because look at my last point on this is, before James Madison, where did Hunter Lipke show up at? Maybe one game in the other 13 games that they played.
In the manner that he
went off. Yeah, he went off in James Madison. How would you predict that?
No, they just clearly, I don't know how they figured it out, but they figured out a guy who's good. All right, we need a big physical guy against James Madison, so Hunter Lipke, you're the man this time. And if you don't know, Hunter Lipke's there. 6'1", 236-pound junior fullback who is very athletic and very fast and very quick for a fullback. Like, that guy certainly has, I think, NFL potential just based on his his physical traits. But yeah, he like 200 some total yards of offense, catching and running the ball as a fullback. Like, clearly they saw something that they could exploit with that, and it worked out really well. And I don't predict to see that against the Bobcats, but it'll be someone else. It'll be some other guy that hasn't had a big game in a while. Like, they're just going to find the mismatch. They're going to find the hot hand. And they're going to use it, and that's what really worries me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Montana State can create turnovers. That would be another big key. If we can gain another possession or 2 based off of interceptions or maybe a fumble, that's going to be huge for Montana State. We're number 4 in the nation in interceptions with 18. If we can pick off Cam Miller, make him feel uncomfortable, man, that's a huge thing for Montana State.
Yeah, I mean, North Dakota State is very good in the turnover margin, but not nearly as good as the Bobcats are. They only have 12 turnovers. We only have 8, but they've also turned the ball over 20 times. I'm sorry, they've only gained 20 turnovers, and we've gained 23. So, I mean, that could be one of the biggest X factors. Like you said, just takes one additional turnover in a game like this, because the Bobcats are going to have to play a clean game. We are not going to be able to win the game with a muffed punt or a Tommy Mellott fumble or an interception or anything. Like, we're going to have to play a clean game, and I think we're going to have to get 1 or 2 interceptions to kind of stem the tide, if anything, to give the defense a break in a situation when their North Dakota State's running game is kind of getting downhill and kind of pushing the guys off the spot. If we can get a turnover and at least keep guys fresh into the fourth quarter, because that's all you want in a game like this. Is you want to be in it in the fourth quarter. You want to have a punching chance to win the game at the end. So turnovers could definitely play a factor in it, because that'll help the time of possession battle kind of tilt back to the Bobcats' favor, possibly, if things start tilting the wrong way.
Any other defensive keys that you have on your list?
I mean, I like our defensive line in this one in terms of depth. I really hope Chase Benson's a full go on this one because I think that'll be huge. But even then, like, their offensive line is nasty. They're very talented. They're very angry. Like, they're a physical. They hunt you down and they try and knock you out. And if the thing that worries me about this game a little bit is an Idaho State blueprint, where they came in with some physical backs and they just ran the ball straight at us the entire time. And I'm worried that, obviously if NDSU can do that, I mean, they're gonna win. If they're gonna just run the ball for 5 or 6 yards to carry up the middle, and there's absolutely nothing we can do about it, and they just take a couple play action shots, like, I don't know how we stop that. I'm hoping that we can do some creative things to the defensive line, some stunts, maybe some well-timed blitzes to catch a running back in a gap. You're going to have to kind of take some chances, I think, in this one to be a little more aggressive than we typically have. You come out and you don't be aggressive, kind of do the base thing we've been doing, and you make the adjustments as you go. And that's one big thing that the Cats have going for them. Freddie Banks, one of the best adjusters I've seen. We just have to make sure it's close at halftime so the adjustments can actually, help us win the game in the second half.
Can we afford a first half where we get buried?
No. I don't believe so. That's one of my overall keys to the game is we can't get down by like 2 scores in the first half.
Yeah. And I think that's something I'm really concerned by is just that I think I heard Sam Herder talk about it in reference to some other national championship games that North Dakota State has played in the context that they just feel comfortable there. And it might take Montana State a little bit to kind of find their bearings in the national championship game. And if they find their bearings a little late and North Dakota State's all of a sudden up 10, 14 points, that becomes a real big problem.
I mean, we did see James Madison mount to come back in the third quarter in the semifinal game and actually take the lead. They were down 13-0 at halftime, but they scored 14 unanswered in the third quarter and got back in the game and had a chance to win at the end. So it can be done. I don't know if the Bobcats can do it, but yeah, I think you're right. We can't come out, let the moment be too big and just get buried right off the get-go because we just don't dig out a hole. Because that's what the Bobcats do. We've seen it time and time again. The Bobcats get up and they just go super conservative and lock down on defense and just chokehold you until the game's over. And that's exactly what the Bison will do to us if we can't keep it close in the first half.
I just kind of find it funny, like, only in the 3 years we've been doing this podcast, we always come to this game and we always talk about trying not to out bison the Bison. Here we are talking about the same damn thing.
The only difference is we're more dynamic on offense. I think is really the main thing that is going to be the difference maker in the past iterations of this matchup. I think we're deeper and more physical on defense. And I think we have more talent on defense. And I also think we're much more dynamic with just a true dual threat quarterback instead of running back by committee, which is kind of funny. Like we had basically like Tucker Rovig is a Cam Miller type guy. Cam Miller's just got that more intangible type stuff that as much as I love Tucker Rovig, it just didn't seem to have that. That's hard to get. Like it's a hard thing to find. I think that's what Tommy Lott has it. But Cam Miller, for all of his shortcomings as a quarterback, he's a gamer. He's a baller. He's going to do whatever he can to win the football game for you. So I don't know, man. It's gonna be a really entertaining matchup. I think the teams are fairly well matched. We just have one team who's been doing it forever, and this is second nature to them. And one team that is the hottest team in the country, but coming off that break, is the momentum still there? Is the magic still there? That's the big question.
Yeah, and we got Coach Vegan, like we said.
Got Vegan, and don't forget Freddie Banks, because I already said Freddie Banks, but he's also an NDSU guy. He was a player for North Dakota State, so defensive player. So, I mean, we got a couple guys who kind of know how things are ran and how to maybe attack it better than any previous staff would have an idea how to do.
I would love to watch this. I'm going to go watch this game back regardless, And let's say we come out with some stuff that stymies Matt Inns. Have you ever watched Matt Inns on the sideline?
I mean, he just
He
was angry.
he gets so fired up. Yeah, I just want us. I was just picturing in my mind us then like kind of foiling some of his plans and him just getting all huff and puffing over there and just taking it out on some poor ball boy who was not trying to do anything besides his job. Matt Inch just pulls him aside and just rips him a new one. So, anyways, there's a little tangent right there.
We haven't done too many tangents tonight. We've been pretty on point. It's like we're professional podcasters.
Hey, let's do the keys that unlock the special places.
Damn it. Okay. So I'm looking at the keys I have written down here, and actually most of this we did cover. I thought there'd be we kind of covered already some like intangible type stuff about being too big for the moment and kind of stuff like that in the coaching. So those are kind of keys that would have been the magic places to put a key into. The only thing that I have down here that I didn't end up talking about is just, and we already mentioned this, but stay super assignment sound on defense. NDSU does a ton of like pre-snap motion. They try and confuse you. They remind me a lot of the Bobcats last year, where we just move guys around and just try to confuse the defenses. But that's one of my other big keys I have written down. But everything else that I've written down, I think we've already hit on.
Yeah, I think so. Turnovers, we talked about that. Coach Vegan, we talked about that. I kind of just hope the Cats just embrace it all. You know, when we got to the Cat Grizz, we looked a little bit, I don't know, like we just didn't look like we were having fun. Of course, we're getting our asses kicked too. So
we hadn't looked like we've been having fun for a few weeks, though.
That's a good point. I think that's kind of where I was heading with that. Is something was off, and you know we talked about that. We all know what was off, right? Man, I don't know. You know, 2018, 2019 didn't go well against the Bison, but this is a different team, different coach. We're in a national championship. We're not playing in Fargo. We're playing at a neutral site. Let it ride, man.
Is it neutral?
Just let it ride.
Yeah.
I think so.
I agree with you. But yeah, it's crazy that the Bison are 8-0? 8-0 in the championship game.
Well, you know, one thing I want to say, though, and we talked about this a little bit just like yesterday, I don't think this is David and Goliath kind of a build.
I was just going to ask you that. Is this really David and Goliath, or is this... Yeah, go ahead.
No, I don't think so. I think this is more evenly matched. I think an easy take is this. It's a David and Goliath kind of matchup. I don't think so. I think we're more evenly matched than we kind of think about. I would say I would give this slight edge to North Dakota State in this game. I just think they're just slightly better in a lot of different ways. Like they're slightly better on defense. They're slightly better in the pass rush. They're slightly better in this. They're slightly better in that. So, okay, so on paper, but it's not something that's overwhelming. It's not something that we're like, holy cow, I hope this works out for us. I think Montana State can hang for sure in this game. We have to have a lot of things go right. And you talked about them all. I don't want to rehash that, but I don't think this is something that's unattainable for the Cats.
I don't think so either, but I do want to read through some crazy NDSU stats a little bit here. So we're talking sort of the quote David and Goliath thing, which I don't believe in either, and I'll get to that. But just some stats to scare you. Since the beginning of their first FCS championship season in 2011, the Bison are 129-1 when they gain 162 yards or more rushing the ball. They're 19-11 when they don't. That's per Craig Haley. The Bison had an opening round bye and have won 36 consecutive games coming off of open weeks. So the bye week, the Bison just don't lose coming out of a bye. And this is one I kind of parsed together with what Coulter was talking about on his show today. Since the Bison beat the Bobcats in 2010 to kind of kickstart their national championship dominance, they've only lost 13 games in that entire span. They lost the next week to Eastern Washington, and then they've only lost 12 other games, period.
Ooh, since 2010?
Yeah. It's absurd.
That is.
Because Coulter was kind of throwing out the spring season, which I did not. But even if you include the spring season, it's absolutely crazy. They're 127-8 since 2011 and 35-2 in the playoffs.
Those stinking Bison.
So
Jeez Louise.
How I land on this is that I think almost any team is David against the Bison. Because they're just kind of this unseen dynasty juggernaut that you just haven't really seen in any level of sports in I don't know, in my lifetime. Like even like the Bulls of the 90s, maybe like the Patriots. I don't know. Even they weren't as dominant for as long as they have been consistently year and year and years, winning championship after championship. I don't think the Cats are David in this game because I actually think we are closer than people give us credit for. Maybe even than you and I. Personally, I give myself credit, like the Cats credit for. I think it's possible. Like we were extremely close to being a 2 seed, and like we've talked about losing that Cat-Grizz game. If that happens in October, we're not an 8 seed. We're not an 8 seed. Like that's kind of crazy to think about how we ended up being an 8 seed, but we shouldn't have been an 8 seed in the first place. And people just look at that like, oh, an 8 seed made it all the way. How cool for them! Like. It's such a ridiculous take. Like, if you don't know anything, I guess it seems like an 8 seed is a crazy run and this magic run. And it is magical, but not in that kind of way. So I don't think it's Dave and Goliath. I think we do have a pretty good shot in this one. I'd pin us at the underdogs. I think I've seen it anywhere from 7.5 to 9 point underdogs in this one, which would be the biggest one we've been. But we've been underdogs in 3 straight games. All we've done is prove people wrong. I think we have a very good chance of proving people wrong again.
You redeemed yourself right there. You were soaking in hyperbole, and then I just was like, man, you're just bringing me down right now. But you brought it back.
Roller coaster.
Talking yourself out of it. I like it. Yeah. Classic.
Yeah, all I wanted to do is paint this picture of how the Bison are truly like to be in awe of. And truly, it's incredible what they've done. But at the same time, everything ends eventually. Why not?
Absolutely.
Why not the Bobcats?
Why not us? I'm a Bengals fan. Look at us right now. Come on.
Who day?
Why not us? As CJ Uzama would say, why not us?
That should be our theme going into Frisco. Why not us?
Why not us?
Why not Tommy?
Print the t-shirts right now. Why not us?
All right.
I like it.
Well, we got to get some questions,
do some
man.
Golden Coolie.
Yeah.
Why
don't you do it? Why don't you fire one off?
All right.
By the way, we don't do predictions. If you're just tuning into this and you're hearing from us for the first time and you're like, are they going to do a prediction? The answer is no. We don't do predictions. Superstitious. Not bold enough to put takes out there. Certainly not doing it. Certainly not starting now before the national championship. So moving on.
All right. Bobcat Bob. This is not a Golden Coolie question, although it's in the Golden Coolie thread. And before we got on, we had a discussion on your avatar on Montana's or on Bobcat Nation. Is that Christina Aguilera? I think it is.
I don't see I could possibly tell from the pixelated tiny picture. But anyway.
Montana Bob, get at us, man. Is that Christina Aguilera in your avatar? And if it is, why? Why do you have Christina?
And what is she looking at?
Yeah.
A snow screen, like a fuzzy no channel screen? So many questions.
Oh, man. All right.
From 2 Dot.
Anyways, we went on
Montana.
Christina Aguilera.
That's what it says.
Is it?
That's what
2 Dot?
Profile says.
Oh, my word. Nice. Well done, Bobcat Bob, or Montana Bob. All right. Let's go underneath that. Teton Cat. Our friend in maybe Shoto, Montana. I don't know. Next to Tetons. Let's see. What must the Cats stop when our D? I don't like.
You misread this so many times. It's win on D.
Okay, sorry.
Or
what must the Cats stop win on D in order to win? I can't read. I'm a math guy. Okay. What must the Cats exploit when on offense in order to win? So I'm going to start. Teton Cat, we're going to have to stop all 6 of their running backs and Christian Watson and Phoenix Sproles and anybody else who catches the ball, Hunter Lipke. So
stop the offense.
It's really no big deal, but all of those guys, Kobe Johnson, Tamarack Williams, you name them, right? Who else was there? Quincy Patterson, the guy who runs the.
We didn't even talk
Wildcat
about him.
So,
well, I'm sure we'll see him in the game too.
So no big deal, Teton Cat. I think we got that handled. Jeez. What must the Cats exploit when on offense in order to win? We need to exploit the sideline balls like we have been. Coulter Nuanez talked about how the Bison run pretty much the same defense all the time, cover 2. And it's same thing, pretty much the base defense that we run at Montana State. And where can we exploit that? Well, we can exploit that along the sidelines and then up the seams. So I think that's something we're going to have to take advantage of. I don't think we're going to be able to run the ball. For all of you out there who say, hey, we're going to be able to run the ball with a Fonse for 3-4 yards or Tommy Molot for 4 or 5 yards, I think you're dead wrong. I think I would almost bet money on that you were wrong. They're the best team at limiting the run. They're in the nation. And for us to think that we're going to go down there and run up off tackle or off guard, I just don't see it happening. Unless, like Ryan said, we establish the pass.
I mean, I agree with you 100% on offense. I would replace the word stop on this question to like slow down, because I think that's about the best you can hope for. If we can slow down the run game enough and perhaps build up some sort of lead where we force North Dakota State out of their comfort zone to pass. But yeah, really, we've talked about making Cam Miller beat you with his arm. That requires us to slow down their running game. What must the Cats exploit when on offense in order to win? I mean, one-on-one matchups, throwing the ball. And that has been sideline or up the sideline patterns, but we can be more creative than that. You can find ways to get guys one-on-one. It doesn't have to be a fade down the sideline. You just have to throw it in a spot. If you can get Lance McCutcheon on like a crossing route and he gets on a one-on-one, I mean, there's other ways to do it. And it doesn't have to necessarily be against a covered 0 like we've seen all playoffs. So I think we still need to exploit any one-on-one matchup because Lance McCutcheon and Nate Stewart can go up and catch the ball against almost any defensive back in the country, in my opinion.
We hadn't talked about this on defense explicitly in this episode, but Daniel Hardy, Brody Grebe, third down packages where we get to the quarterback. If we can sack Cam Miller, if our interior guys, Amandre Williams, Chase Benson's back, Sebastian Valdez, whoever is in there, right? If they can take up some blocks and we can get around on the outside and create some pressure, that's going to be huge too.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's something that I really hope to see, because if we can force them into like those 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 10s themselves, like we were talking about, what do we do in that situation? Well, what does NDSU do in that situation? That's where our DNs and defensive linemen can feast. Good questions, Teton.
Nice work, Teton. All right, why don't you take the next one there, Thorny?
River Cat.
Yes, sir.
I think the Bobcats and the Bison match up pretty well personnel-wise without any glaring mismatches. If that's true, what may be the deciding factors in Frisco? His possibilities are the Bison. They've been there, done that. Winning in Frisco is just what they do. The Bobcats, the small sample size of the new quarterback in offense, especially if Afonso plays, doesn't allow the Bison to adequately game plan on defense. I'll start on this one personnel-wise. I do agree. It's relatively even. There's some, I think NDSU probably has some better overall talented positions. I think it's pretty even overall. But I do believe, and I've talked about this, I do believe the Bobcats, one of the biggest weapons we have is the fact that Bison can't adequately game plan for a still relatively small sample size of Tommy Lott. And last game against South Dakota State, we didn't even have Afonso or even much of a running threat besides Malott. So I think there's still a lot of stuff that the Bobcats can do. I think it's a huge advantage for the Cats, but it also is a huge advantage for the Bison. So to answer your questions, I don't know. I don't know which one will be the most deciding factor. I guess I'll go with my gut take on this is that we still have a little bit of element of surprise.
I hope so. I don't think I have much more to add to that, but I hope so. I hope we see something out of Malat that we haven't seen yet.
So is there any other answer? Like he provided 2 possibilities, but do you have any other answer for what's the single deciding factor?
Turnovers for me.
Turnovers. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Mine could also boil down to just winning the lines, being able to win the defensive line and offensive line. Pretty simple football stuff in reality.
What's interesting about this matchup, Ryan? I mean, if you haven't already thought about this, we want to do the same things. Montana State and North Dakota State are being built the same way.
Yeah.
And just North Dakota State has a history of just doing it for a longer amount of time. I think Montana State's going to get there with Coach Vegan. We're just the newcomer on the scene right now.
Yeah. Yep. And do they feast on newcomers? We'll find out.
Yep.
All right, move on down.
Right, thanks, River Cat.
Yep. You can take the next one. Your turn.
I'll take a Colorado Cat. I wonder if he lives in Colorado. Haha. What is our best matchup and what is our worst? I think our best matchup is going to be our receivers against their defensive backs. And our worst, I would say, would be, here's a hot take, Troy Anderson against their running backs.
Worst?
Yeah, specifically in the power game. If they run power A, like Troy Anderson said in the thing, the press conference last week, I think that's our worst matchup right there, actually.
I mean, I want to be mad at you, but I can't. Because, like Coulter mentioned on our episode with him just recently, like he gets lost in the wash. He can be flattened because he's not necessarily always decisive in terms of like getting off blocks, and he can be put on his butt. So, I mean, that's who neutralized him the best is probably Idaho State. Like, did Idaho State lay the blueprint for how to beat the Bobcats? I don't know. We'll find out. But you might be right on that. I think our worst matchup, maybe it pains me to say this, is our defensive line versus their offensive line.
What? Are you kidding?
Yeah. Well, no.
Tell me. No, man.
I'm going to rephrase
Take that back right now.
It's going to be our probably our offensive line versus their defensive line. I'm going to flip that around.
I can get behind that a little bit more.
Because their defensive line is elite. There's not any maybe Buck Buchanan award type guys on there. But, I mean, we're still a bit undersized on offensive line. We're still fairly young. And they're just a seasoned veteran group with a lot of starts under their belt. And they're deep. And they're going to just keep pushing, just running guys at us the entire game. So, yeah, ignore my first thing I said and focus on the second thing I said. What else am I even talking about here? Did I say our best matchup yet?
Best matchup.
I agree with you 100%. I actually think our best matchup is our wide receivers. Now, can our offensive line give Tommy Lott enough time to exploit it? To be determined. Can we get guys creatively open with the actual like schemes and to be determined? But I do think that's probably one of the best things we have going.
All right. Jump to page 12 on the Golden Coolie thread. Think we have 2 more. Let's jump down to the last one. R. Fisher 94. Yeah, I think we read this one, right? Thorny, help me out on this one.
We talked about it. Did we actually bring it on? We were talking about asking Coulter this, and I think we did not end up asking it. I think that might be what you're thinking of, right? We've done a lot of podcasting in the last 2 weeks, man. Let's just ask it again if we did already. Whatever. I'm not positive we did. I don't think we did. So let's just do it.
All right. So neither Sam Houston State nor South Dakota State seem ready for Tommy as a QB. How would you explain this? That's question number 1. How does this change for Frisco, given that NDSU has 3 weeks to prepare? Do you think we have the full extent of Tommy's existing abilities, or do you think that the coaching staff is holding some options in their back pockets?
Yes.
It is.
I mean, we've covered this at this point. I still think every game that Tommy played against South Dakota State, Sam Houston State, like there was so little film on him, and there's something I didn't really consider with all the travel and the short weeks in the playoffs. Like you just don't have a lot of time to do film study that you would maybe during the regular season. You like lose a day and all this stuff. So with like, I don't know, I heard that somewhere. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I just think that there was just so little film on him. That's why Bobcats were able to spring Tommy on them. But I still think I said it multiple times. I still think we have that ace in the sleeve.
I think it's a mixture of belief, just the belief that we could get it done. When Tommy Mollott came on, something changed, man. We talked about it. There's something just changed. Coulter talked about it. Just the belief that the guys have in Tommy.
Galvanized the whole team.
Yeah. That can't be quantified. That's something that you don't measure. It's just there. There also is something a little bit, too, that I think is understated. South Dakota State and Sam Houston State played in the spring season. They had played like 20-some games in this calendar year. I think that probably just kind of caught up with them. North Dakota State has as well. In fact, they're going to play the most games in this calendar year. Have we seen the extent of Tommy's existing abilities? I don't think we have. I don't think we've called the plays to see the extent of Tommy's abilities yet.
Yep, I agree. I don't know if if it doesn't happen on Saturday, it will definitely happen if he's quarterback next year. He's got so much upside here, and I think we're going to see a whole different Tommy Mollott even on Saturday.
I got to come clean with the Golden Coolies. We are down to 1 or 2 Golden Coolies, and I'm not giving them away because they have a certain saying on them. Montana State football, I'll tell you that. They have Montana State football, and we can't put Montana State football on Golden Coolies. We didn't know this one.
That's a weak excuse.
Well, you know what? We can't. I'm not going to give those away.
Years. What's one more?
So all I'm saying is this. I'm not going to give those away. I'm going to keep those for you and me, because when we're 60 years old and we're still talking Montana State football, we can put these in our beers in those old
crusty
Coolies
at that point. Just like,
yeah, exactly that. All right. But all you guys that ask good questions, if you're down in Frisco and we meet up, I'll get you a new version of our Coolie, which is going to just be the same design, but it's going to just have R&R CatCast on there.
So this is the equivalent of me earlier, where I was like, I'm not on board with what you said, but like, you'll get him something eventually. Okay, fine. I didn't know that's where you were taking it. I thought you were going to deny everyone a Coolie for that reason. I'm like, no. Mm-mm. Okay, that's fine. Fair. Yeah. We do have more questions though, rightfully.
Oh, I
got some on that there Twitter.
Oh, the Twitter machine.
The Twitter machine. If the Cats win the national championship and given James Madison is leaving for the FBS, what will the Cats need to do to be the proven perennial top 2 team that the Dukes were? Or have they already achieved that? It's a good question.
I think we're top 4.
But even with James Madison and Sam Houston State are like the perennial, not North Dakota State teams that are always there. They're both gone. Can the Cats slide in that spot?
I mean, maybe. It's too early, in my opinion. I don't think the Cats have the history of being at this point right now. I think that's why we're so giddy. I would say the top 4: North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Montana State, Montana, in any order you want to put those. So, can we be the number 2? I don't know. We're number 2 right now, at least. We might be number 1 for this year, but to be like widely considered the number 2 year in, year out, I think if we did this 2 years in a row, if Montana State goes back to the national championship next year, yeah, then I think I can get behind that.
I don't think so, only for the fact that if you look at Sam Houston State and James Madison, Sam Houston State, their conference is terrible. Yes. I don't even. They were going to be the best team in that conference every year, and it wasn't even going to be close. Mm-hmm. James Madison, now the CAA used to be elite, but so many of those teams have completely fallen off the map. Like James Madison's only hard game all year was Villanova, and they lost. So the point is, like, the Bobcats don't play in an easy conference. We have proven Eastern Washington and proven Montana that are always going to be there. So it's going to be hard for any team from the Big Sky Conference to be that top 2 team anymore. I think the days of like Montana win the conference like 6 years in a row, those days are just gone. So I don't know who's going to. I don't know. I think it's gonna be hard for the Bobcats because you're gonna be knocked off probably every year by Eastern or Montana. Like as much as it pains me to say it, we're not gonna beat Montana 4 years in a row again. I guess it's gonna be back and forth affair. I think moving forward. So I think we have the facilities, maybe an indoor practice facility, some other stuff that could put us right in their conversation. But I think top 4 for sure, like you said.
Dude, you're making no sense. Like he's talking nationally, and you're talking more like in conference in the Big Sky.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're going to not be a 1 or 2 seed because you're going to drop a tough Big Sky Conference game. So it's going to be hard to make those runs if you're not always a 1 or 2 seed. That's all I'm saying.
Nice.
You're going to go into the playoffs with like
right.
at least 1 loss, most likely. Like we haven't won the Big Sky Conference in how long?
Oh.
I guess it's hard. Okay. Well, it's a hard conference, and it's gonna that. My point is the conference is much harder, so you're not going to be able to just cakewalk through your schedule and get a 1 seed like Sam Houston's.
So maybe we should, like we've been saying in the last month, let's move the cat grizz.
Please.
Leon Costello, if you're listening, like, can we do this? I mean, we have multiple people, media members, saying, let's move it towards mid-October, kind of like SDSU, NDSU. And so that it better suits not only Montana State, but the University of Montana and the seeding when we get to the playoffs.
I like it. Let's start a Go Change or whatever that website is where people sign petitions. Let's get one going. Because I'm sick of that game. With MSU's history, that was from Danny. Dan, my man. He's a regular question asker of the show, a regular listener. Thank you, Danny. MTGCG 1979. I think he's asked us a question or two here recently as well. This is a fun question. With MSU's history of great defensive players and Troy's storied career coming to a triumphant finale, I like your language there. Which Bobcat underclassman do you think has what it takes to become a Buck finalist?
Yeah, I thought about this one already.
Yeah.
Brody Grebe.
Yep. I think Brody Grebe is a solid choice.
That was the easy one for me, man.
Yeah.
Brody Grebe, that guy is just getting started, and he is so stinking good right now. He is one of the most understated players in the entire nation.
That's true.
We had our friend Shane Driscoll talk to us about this as well. Like, we're not just Ryan and I. Other people are like texting us in and saying, this guy is the next big deal.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll eat my words if he's not.
I feel like I had someone else in my head, and I had this question ready to be answered, and nothing's coming to my mind, so I'm just going to agree with you because no one else is coming to my mind better than Brody Grebe. He has a solid chance to be like a Brad Daly type guy, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So for sure.
He gets after it. Great question.
That is a great question. All right. I think that's all the questions. Let me double check.
So between this episode and the one with Coulter, you have 3 hours of Bobcat stuff that you can plug into on the plane, in the car, moving yourself down to Frisco. You're going to meet up with the R&R CatCast guys. We're going to be down there. Heck knows what we're going to be doing. Can't wait, man. I'm so stoked for
There it is. There's the childhood excitement we were talking about. Coming back.
Man.
Fading a little bit into the podcast. Coming back strong. Let's end on a high note. Energetic, vim-filled finale to this episode here.
Woo! Let's go.
I can't believe it, man. National championship. I want to soak it in, but I also just don't want to be like resting on our laurels. Like, oh, we're so happy we're here. I want to go down there and win. I want to see us win. But as a fan, yeah, soak it up, Bobcat fans. I hope everyone's making the efforts to get there. I think you'll regret it if you don't. If you're listening to this somehow and you're on the fence of whether to go or not, I don't know at this late in the game if you would be, but you should go. You'll be kicking yourself if you don't. It's a once-in-a-lifetime potential opportunity to watch the Bobcats play for a national championship. Go, soak it in, take it in. Enjoy, Bobcat fans. Enjoy it.
Also, check out our Instagram account. I think that's where we're going to be doing some live streaming. And Thorny and I were just talking about it today. We don't know when that's going to come. That might be in a moment where it's just cool. We're like, let's go live. We might go live a couple times. We might go live at the tailgates, at the game. We want to produce some content, and I think we just want to bring in you into that. And so we're not asking you to always live on Instagram and social media, but if you're there, check it out. I think that'd be kind of fun.
We were sitting there all week. What are we going to do for content? Are we going to bring our microphones down there? I don't want to bring my laptop down there if I don't have to. We're like, well, should we do something Friday night? Like, we just decided we don't want to be tied down to any time frame. Like, we're not really media. Like, I don't want to like schedule like a 9 a.m. go live on YouTube live, sit down, like have a full setup. And I don't know. I just didn't want to do that. I want to be a fan first and foremost. Yes. I just want to go down there and soak up the experience. And I'm hoping whatever we decide to do, Facebook Live, Instagram Live, I don't know what we'll do. Probably Instagram, but whatever it ends up being, I hope it, I want to portray the fan experience that we're having down there. I don't want to sit there and just talk matchups and talk injuries or anything like that. Like, we're just going to do a fun broadcast, maybe talk to some other Bobcat fans. I think that's really what we decided on. And impromptu, I think, is the best way to go.
Thorny, I got one question for you. We have to wear blue. Do you have blue?
I do.
Do you have blue Bobcat stuff?
I have a Bobcat t-shirt for sure. I'm going to dig and find this old crazy retro V-neck crazy looking thing I bought at Kmart in Bozeman like in 2002. I know I got it around here somewhere. I don't wear it too often. It's long sleeve. I think it'll be perfect for the weather if I can find that. If it still fits my 40-year-old dad bod versus 22-year-old me. But yes, I have a blue shirt, at least one that I plan on wearing.
I have a blue T-shirt. I actually have like a nice collared what's it called?
Polo?
Quarter zip. One of those
3/4 zip.
Under Armour quarter zip things. I guess I can bring that. Although if I find something cool down there, my sons are like, Dad, you got to get me something. So I have to be on the look. Merchandise.
For what?
You're going to get me if you're selling merchandise.
Gear? Oh, you think there's still Bobcat gear down there?
I mean, I think so. Someone's probably doing it.
We already got your Touchdown Tommy shirt. But it's not blue.
I did. It's in my dryer right now. I just washed it, so I'm going to go take it out here after this.
The real question is, do I wear my lucky green Eddie Bauer shirt? You
can't. You got to bring it. But you can't. Maybe rub it with your hand. Like maybe kiss it before we go to the
rub
game.
my armpits with it.
Yes. Put some Vim on that thing. Go stand in front of the mirror and just like rub it against your body. Like, all right, here we go, Bobcats.
Oh man,
do something. You got to bring it though.
I'll bring it.
Got to bring it.
We'll decide whether to wear it. I'm not
we'll put
shooting
it out
that down yet.
In our hotel room. We'll put it out in our hotel room. We'll hang it like a flag or something.
Speaking of which, I was looking at our seats. I wonder if you can hang flags from the balcony in front of us.
I have 2 Montana State flags. I'm a flag person.
Bring one. If we don't use it, we don't use it. But if we want to use it and we don't have one, we're going to be sad.
Yeah, I'm going to bring a flag.
Bring a flag. Okay. Bobcat fans.
Let's go.
Woo! Let's go out of this podcast. Let's close this bad boy down. Final game preview of the year. It was a fun one. I hope everyone's just soaking in this experience, just full of him. Like Ryan Foley's over there just bouncing around right now. He's got it. He's got it bad. Thanks everyone for listening all year. We really appreciate it. It's been a really fun year doing this podcast. I hope everyone enjoyed the content. Please rate and review, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I never say that, but why not here at the end? It really helps us out. You can find us on Twitter, RRCatcast. You can find us on bobcatnation.com. We go there quite a bit. We're regular posters there. We have some R&R Catcast threads going. You can find us on the web, rrcatcast.com. Shoot us an email, rrcatcast@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter and tell us where you're going to be. Maybe we'll find you down there in Frisco. We got lots of tailgating. We plan on tailgating bright and early. We'd love to meet up with any cat fans down there and just, shoot the shit, so to say, for the game and have some fun before the Bobcats can play North Dakota State. So, Foley, let's get out of here with the final Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.